Joining us right now is Stephen Jones from the Dallas Cowboys. Stephen, how you doing today?
Hey, guys. We're doing good.
Excellent.
Hey, Steven, did you by chance hear anything about our interview with your dad on Friday?
I saw a few pieces.
So it went well then, huh?
Oh, yeah. I thought y'all handled him well.
Excellent. All right. Good. Here we go then.
As you know, with your entire family.
Let's don't get off to a bad start here.
Okay. All right. How was your weekend? Okay, let's go with that. That's an easy enough question.
Well, it's obviously very frustrating where we are right now, and I know it is for our fans. And we've just got to, and I know a lot of people don't have a lot of confidence, but the good news is inside that building we do. And I think our players are convicted. We've got good leadership. We've got the right kind of guys, and guys like Dak and Zeke and Zach Martin and Tyron Smith and, DeMarcus Lawrence and Sean Lee and Jason Witten. We just feel like we can come out of this. And it was we can't let these last 11 days define us. And the only way to make that happen is go out and do something about it. And understand the dubiousness that exists with our fans, with our media. And that's part of it. But we've got good news is we can go out and do something about it, and it starts against the Rams.
Do you have any particular idea, and I guess that this might be the million-dollar question, what leads to the disconnect between, you guys have confidence, clearly you guys have talent, versus what you've seen on the field in the last few weeks? Because you said that the players remain confident inside the building. Everyone remains confident, but the performance on the field doesn't always appear confident. Where's the disconnect? Like, where does that get lost?
I think there are moments in a game where you let some things get away from you. And, our guys have high expectations for themselves. And, when you get behind and then you get behind a couple, you miss a field goal, you get behind a couple scores, you start pressing. Everybody wants to do more than their job, which is really not how we're built. Everybody has to just go out and do their job. Then you press and it ends up in a bad place. You look at a team like the Falcons, who everybody had high expectations for, and, they get off to a really rough start. Now they're reeling off 3 in a row. There's no rhyme or reason. The only thing I would say is this is professional football. Every team pays their players. Everybody's got the same salary cap. The NFL is a very successful league in terms of each and every team doing well. So they all pay their scouts well. They all pay their coaching staff well. And there's no, there's no Division II type programs on your schedule.
Right.
The Eagles can lose to the Dolphins. The Broncos can take the Texans out after they were so impressive against the Patriots. It's a league that we're in, and I think it's why fans love it. But it also can be very frustrating when it's your team that's on the wrong end of this. And there's no question. We've had a rough 11 days. You are what you are. You can't make any excuses for where we are. But at the same time, as I said, we're not going to let 11 days define our season. And these guys put a lot of hard work into it. We're a big believer in the type of guys we have on this team. We're a big believer in our staff. And we certainly understand why we may be the only ones who believe that our fans got big question marks, and certainly the media has big question marks. But we're going to work, and we all know you got to start with winning a game. And, that has to start against the Rams. And we all watched the Rams play last night. They were a team that was, everybody was questioning, and now all of a sudden their defense is showing up, and Goff's throwing the ball around the yard, and they're looking good. So, that's just part of our league, and we understand that, and we just got to move forward, and we got to control what we can control, and, that's where we are.
Now, in the position that you're in, you are capable. I understand Garrett and the players, their primary focus has to be, we have to win this next game. We have to win this next practice. We have to win this next day. In the front office, I would imagine you guys are allowed to, or you probably need to, look at some bigger picture things. Does that same confidence that you guys have in the building, in the room, does that extend to hey, if we can make the playoffs, that confidence remains there, and I think we can do something?
Bill Parcells used to tell me, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for, and he used to say, just get in the tournament. And once you're in the tournament, then who knows what's going to happen. And we control our destiny on that. And I know everybody's going to say, well, what in the world are, you getting in the playoffs when other teams have better records? Why are you hosting games when other teams have better records? If we're able to do this, which we thoroughly believe we can, then yes, we've got confidence. Our coaches have confidence, and our players have confidence. That's all we're focused on right now is beating the Rams. We've got to get a win, and then you take each week one step at a time after that. But it all starts with the Rams. And the great news is AT&T's been great. I mean, our fans come out, they're fired up, and I'm sure they'll be there again. They want this. Our fans want it, and we feel like we can deliver.
You said, I'm sure they'll be there again, and the Cowboys obviously have a very passionate, very feverish fan base. Do you ever have worries that, there might be a day where they're not there or that apathy will set in? Is that something that you worry about?
We never take anything for granted. And I think one thing we've proven with our ownership, we always, we're always firing at it. And we're always trying to put the best possible product we can on the field. We try to give our fans the best experience we can, but we would never take our fans for granted. And we think we have the best in the world. And, it shows up week in and week out in terms of our fans tuning in on television, our fans coming to our games. But we would never take that for granted. And we'll always strive to give them the very best product we can on the field, as well as give them the very best experience we can, whether it's in our stadium, whether it's the star, whether it's the product we put on the field. We'll continue to do everything we can to make it the very best.
I'm very curious, Stephen, because you brought his name up, Bill Parcells, and that's kind of when I started working at the Cowboys website over there as an intern, and that was a great experience for me because I learned even more about football at the time, and I know you started getting more hands-on with what was going on there, and I just wanted to kind of tap in. I've always wanted to ask you this: what kind of lessons? You got a couple of things that you really learned from Bill that really stand out for your philosophy on how you run the organization? You guys run the organization.
Well, you learn from everybody. I mean, obviously we've had great coaches, whether it's Jimmy Johnson, whether it's Barry Switzer, who had, great success at both levels. Obviously, Bill had been around the block in the NFL and knew the NFL, and with his stints with the Giants and the Patriots and his lineage in the National Football League. But you take a lot of things from guys like that, and Bill was certainly one of my greatest teachers. His biggest thing is, which is what we take to heart right now, but you can certainly do something about it, is you are what you are. Right now we're 6-7, and we haven't beaten a team with a winning record, and we got to change the narrative. And we all know that doesn't happen until you do something about it. And that's why our criticism, the critics, everything's very fair. I mean, whether it's criticism of our players, our coaching staff, Jerry, myself, the front office, everything that we're getting right now is very fair. We just got to go change the narrative and do something about it.
Can you tell us anything about, words going around that y'all are bringing in or trying out a couple more kickers this week? Can you tell us any specifics about that?
Not really. We won't really have any comment on that till we make a decision one way or the other. I mean, at the end of the day, Meyer's been a guy we've had a lot of confidence in. He's had a lot of great moments, in terms of big kicks. And then, of course, there's been, not unlike our team, some ups and downs. So we just have to evaluate it. We all know this is a tough business. Everybody understands that. And, when we are ready to make a decision on which direction we're going this week, then certainly we'll let everybody know.
And then you'd mentioned something about the idea of the Cowboys hosting a playoff game if they win the division. I'm curious because I've heard this thrown around for years and years. Would you be a proponent in future years of the NFL shuffling up the seeds, just dependent strictly on record as opposed to winning your division?
I fall on the line of, and this is not because we've been on the other side of the equation before where, you have division winners who don't have the record and you go on the road. But, at the end of the day, we're a big proponent of the history of the NFL, and divisions are very important. And you fight your butt off to win your division. And, the East is more times than not over time has been a tougher division to win. And it goes back to Bill Parcells. The East is what it is this year.
Mm-hmm.
And we understand that. But I think Jerry and I would always come down on sticking with the way we had it.
All right. Well, we get to chat with your dad again on Friday. Please tell him for us that we were lovely to you.
Well, he just told me to pass along to you. He probably not going to make that. But,
Dadgummit. All right.
That's fair. That's very fair.
I'm kidding. He'll be there, bells and whistles, and ready to go.
And we'll be ready for that, too. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, Stephen, for your time today, man.
Hey, appreciate you guys. Thanks.
There you go, Stephen Jones.